the Bolsheviks, they're enemies who vote for it. Open up the border, let the boats with the homeless in. Never trust a commie. Never trust a commie. Never trust a commie. Let's congratulate Mr. Mamdani. Never trust the commies. Never trust the promises. If you vote for it, you won't forget the consequence. Never trust the commies. Never trust the promises. If you vote for it, you won't forget the consequence. Cheers to the champagne socialists. No regret when they vote them in. So intense when they sold us in. Bodies on the floor, they don't notice them. None of you heard about the gulag stop for their food farms barred in the gulags. The train left the station with a choo-choo. Nothing worse than a smile when they shoot you. Never trust a commie. Never trust a commie. Never trust a commie. Let's congratulate Mr. Mamdani. Never trust the communists. Never trust the promises. If you vote for it, you won't forget the cons. Never trust the communists. Never trust the promises. If you vote for it, you won't forget the cons.
We are very, very. If we don't learn from the past, we will be doomed. This is Apostate Radio, episode 44. One of the most powerful songs you'll ever hear. And I am honored. We are honored to have the man who created that song, as well as several others, on his very first album, Factory Reset. This man is also the co-author of The Queering of the American Child, written by the first, who we recognize as the grandmaster of anti-communism, Dr. James Lindsay. But this man here is the second grandmaster. These two, I have been wanting to have this brother on my show, on this show, for quite some time, and he's here with us tonight. Songwriter, author, Logan Lancing. What's going on?
Grandmaster. Logan, you got to start you and James should start a Shaolin Temple of anti-communism.
Hell
yeah, I've got to learn how to handle this sword. I study jujitsu in my free time, but I don't have any weapons training. So I think if we combine skill sets, we could have something going for us.
Yeah, I'll join. I did some Wing Chun and some jujitsu myself. So,
oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I have no formal martial arts training, but I really love Muay Thai, kickboxing. So,
Muay Thai is great.
Eight limb is fantastic. So yeah, yes, folks, this is Apostate Radio 44, and I've already been told I've already gotten several heads up that we're going to have some friends.
No.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I don't know,
You guys
man.
have friends?
You know, it's hard.
I don't know how to
believe.
handle.
I don't have many friends.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with friends. I'm not familiar with that.
So because this is your first time here on the show, and we do have a little bit of time with you tonight, but if you would please introduce yourselves to this audience on our fledgling podcast here, please let the people know who you are and what you are about, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm Logan Lancing, and long story short, I got into this like so many of you got into this. I saw things really going crazy in the late 2010s and was wondering what the hell is going on. Why has everyone lost their goddamn mind? I don't understand it.
Yep.
And then I was the long and short of it. I was planning to be a father, and I could no longer ignore it. And I realized that if I wanted to welcome children into this world and help them navigate the road ahead of them, I need to figure out what's happening in the world and dive deep into it. And maybe it's a bit of an autistic side of me, but I really got hooked on what was happening in schools and trying to get to the bottom of why our educational system had completely fallen apart. Now, what I didn't know at the time is this intentional destruction of our university system and K-12 education started a long time ago, 100 years ago, with the brunt of that happening in the last several decades. But I quickly realized that something was really off. A lot of, if people are familiar with me, they'll know in The Queering of the American Child, we talk about Kevin Kumashiro quite a bit. He's one of these professional academics who's been the dean of several education departments at prestigious universities, who's responsible for, teaching teachers how to be teachers and instructing them on efficacious pedagogy and how to teach children to learn and think for themselves. And I came across one of his papers in my early research where he said that, and this is a direct quote, that educators have a responsibility to draw students into crisis. And I read that and was thinking, excuse me, what do you mean educators have a responsibility to draw students into crisis in the classroom? And he was speaking
similar to that. I saw something similar to that this week. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he was talking about the context of topics that children really struggle with, like identity and who they are. And of course, he took that further, and he's one of these queer academics, and I use that technically, not as a smear. Technically, he's a queer academic, and he went on to say things like queer teaching and learning always works through crisis. The goal is to continue teaching and learning through crisis, to continue experiencing the queer. And here I am early in my research reading this, and you're hit by a Mack truck thinking this is a prominent professional. This isn't some crazy blue-haired loon who just got their degree in undergrad. This is someone who's well respected in the field, and he's saying this. So what's going on here? So again, long story short, I was preparing to be a father. I decided to do some digging, and 5 years later, I'm kind of here. I wrote 2 books. The first one was The Woke Warpath. It was my first shot at authorship. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm just a guy out there. So I took a swing at it. I'm pretty proud of that work. And then my second book was The Queering of the American Child, and that's the one. And I think James has told this story a few times, but I sent it to him on a whim. I had never really interacted with him all that much, saying, "Hey, can I get some advice? Do you think I've got something here? What do you think of this work?" And he really enjoyed it and thought he did have some good input, and we started to work together on it and co-authored it. And it was a pretty big book, and it's helped a lot of people understand what's going on in education with their children. So I'm proud of that.
That's what's up.
Isaiah, are you hearing kind of some audio inconsistency with Logan?
I am a little bit.
Would you want to bring the mic closer, Logan? See if that makes a difference. Because I feel like when you're moving back,
Is that better?
I don't know. Actually, that's not better, right? I don't think that's better.
What
going on?
Are you using?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity.
What's that?
What earbuds are you using?
Beats.
Beats. Okay. Are they Bluetooth enabled? Like are they for phones too? Okay. That's probably what it is, because he's got like 2. You basically, do you have, real quick, because I know this is going to be kind of crazy, but do you have like a regular, just like regular headphones or something without that mic? Because I think what's happening is the mic in your earbuds. What's that?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Or
that's right. I think you're right, Isaiah. Yeah.
Yeah. Try. Yeah. If you have a like just a regular if you just have like regular headphones, I think that'll probably work.
They could plug in, you mean, like a wired headphone?
Either like a wired headphone or something like that. Just a regular jack We do apologize, folks. We're doing a little bit of audio work just momentarily. So did you? Well, I guess while we work on that, you can follow us directly. You can follow us directly, folks, at Isaiah L. Carter or at Nino Chavez X. There is, of course, our show's page on X, which is Apostate Radio NY. And then if you like what we do here and would like to support the channel financially, we do have buymeacoffee.com/apostate radio. We have been doing this now. It's incredible. We've only been doing this for a year, and this is week one of year 2, and we're blessed to get this second year of Apostate Radio off with a bang here with Logan. How do you sound now, brother? Let's hear it.
Is it better?
Speak directly into the mic.
Is that better?
A little bit. Yeah, come up. Yeah, bring the mic up to you a little bit closer, or turn your mic up.
How's that?
Okay, that's a little bit better. Try
a little bit better.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Do you have noise canceling in StreamYard? Do you have noise canceling on? We're trying to work this out, y'all. Give us a second.
And Logan, are you using the right default mic?
Better.
When you click on the mic, you're using the right default mic for you?
Yeah.
Microphone?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's we'll make it work. I think
we'll
talking to the mic, but I think we can understand you. That's fine.
Yeah.
So let's that was a lot of great information. I think interesting. Let's get into this. Let's get into what is a queer. Was it a queer teacher, a queer academic? Is what you said? Can you define that, or give us an idea what the hell a queer academic is?
Please do.
Can you hear me now?
That's actually a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's
better. Okay. Yeah, there was a pop-up hiding in the background up here from StreamYard for something. I just enabled it.
Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Okay.
It's better? Okay. Cool. I'm sorry. Your question was, what's a queer academic?
Yeah, give people our audience an idea of what that is. And it's probably hard to define, but
yeah, it's hard to define, and and most people when they hear the word,
turn your mic down just a little bit, just a little bit.
I just did, Isaiah. I actually turned them up before. I turned it down. Yeah, I think you're good now.
Is it better?
Yeah, just did it just now.
Yeah, about that.
Okay, I'll introduce a few more problems as we go on. Don't worry about it.
No, that one was my fault. That's okay.
So a lot of people hear the word queer and they think of it as a slur, but it has a technical definition, and that was given by David Halperin in 1995 in his book Saint Foucault Towards a Gay Hagiography. And in that book, he writes that queer identity need not be grounded in any positive truth, number one, or any stable reality. It acquires its meaning from its oppositional relation to the norm. It is by definition whatever is at odds with the normal, the legitimate, and the dominant. There is nothing in particular to which it necessarily refers. It is an identity without an essence. So a lot of commie gobbledygook, but that's what queer means technically. And
oppositional defiant disorder in the adult.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, and there's a lot.
Why would that be something that you'd want to hire anybody for? Like you hire somebody to teach kids how to be the opposite of the norm. Like why is there a demand for that? Isn't there already something that a lot of kids would end up doing at certain points in their lives? Like why do you need a professor or teacher to be an expert at teaching your kids to defy all norms? That seems like counterproductive.
They think all norms are They think all norms are oppressive. And the reason they hire them is because the U.S. Department of Education has adopted all of these policies for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is one of those things that you get when you establish that sort of corrupt framework. They think all norms are oppressive. To queer something is to abolish the idea that anything is considered normal. So, in simplest terms, you've got males and females. That's normal, obviously. Well, we need to abolish that because that's oppressive for anyone who feels that they want to identify as anything else or there's something else on the inside. You have to understand that for queerty, anything that is considered normal, legitimate, or dominant, anything that can be defined even. A lot of this comes from post-structural analysis from philosophers like Jacques Derrida. Anything that could be defined, labeled, made definitive is a site of critique that they can disrupt. And the reason they want to teach this stuff to kids is because the educational departments were captured by all these 60s hippies who went in and took this stuff with them. I mean, a lot of the people, there's a famous Marxist philosopher who wrote a really insightful book, Isaac Gottesman, and I think he was at one point out of Indiana State, where he said, you know, where did all the 60s radicals go? Well, they went to the classroom, and he's writing this from the Marxist perspective. They're proud of this. You know, they had nothing left to do. They didn't have the civil rights fights of their time, and they went into education when they couldn't find other jobs. And after that, you see the boom of critical race theory and queer theory and post-colonial theory and all of the other madness. But a lot of this was incubated and funded directly out of the university system. And then, of course, you've got your average lay teacher, which is a common misconception. You know, I get a lot of questions from the book. Well, what do you mean? You mean every teacher believes this? Well, it's like, of course, not every teacher believes this stuff, but they have state mandated curriculum that they have to follow and learning objectives. And those are inspired by this stuff because the professionals in the field, the ones who define what education looks like, they do believe this stuff. They're true believers, so everyone buys into it. And of course,
they're the PhDs who get these useless PhDs, where they're not scientific at all. And they're the experts. They are the experts on all of this, right? So you have to defer to them.
As a parent, you know, with maybe a high school education or a bachelor's degree, who are you? You don't have any specialty in education. How could you possibly know the most efficacious way to teach a child? And
how could you possibly define what a woman is?
Right? How could you? The most sinister part about this is how they know parents have a problem with this. One of the papers we cover in the book is a couple of teachers talking about how they overcome parental resistance. It's called Navigating Parental Resistance. And they say we hide this stuff in larger units or in learning objectives that we can point to. So when a parent has a problem with something, like reading a book about transgender teens and dildos and all that stuff. Sorry, I don't know where I can go with language on here. But when
you can say whatever you want here.
Okay, well, fuck it. When they go there, they can say, well, you know what, this is the English language arts curriculum. What else? What other books am I supposed to read other than the transgender dildo book? You know, it's really nefarious. The ones, it's structured like a cult because it is a cult. You know, there's this inner layer of the cult that are true believers. They really believe this madness. They're completely gripped by this cult religion. And then there's the people on the outside of it who just think it's what it means to be a good person. You know, I don't really want to bother with it. If someone wants to say they're a boy or say they're a girl, what's the harm in that? They're saying they're going to kill themselves. I mean, maybe we just go along with it. How bad could it be? Yep. That's where most people end up, and most teachers too.
Yeah.
I have never, when it comes to this particular movement, I have been struck at the amount of moral cowardice that's been allowed to fester with this, within this. You know, like, it's like when people first started with that whole, well, do you want a dead son or a living daughter? If you don't give all of these children, if you don't give your trans children the pronouns and everything they want, or they're going to unalive themselves, they're going to take their own lives. It's like, I understood exactly what that was from the very beginning. It's like, okay, this is emotional abuse.
Yes.
This is emotional abuse. This is literally running in somewhere and demanding something with a gun to your head, saying, if you don't give me what I want right now, I'm going to pull the trigger. And
if you break up with me, I'll kill myself.
Right. If you break up with me, I'll kill myself. Like, it's such wicked emotional manipulation. And I saw what it was from the very beginning. That's like, even like before, when I knew what was going on, it was like, y'all, like this, like you're going way too hard with this too early. I remember warning, like this is when I was still a Democrat. I was warning people, like actively, like listen, if you don't get this under control, you're going to, like this is going to go very badly for you. And unfortunately, it has gone bad for them, but just way later than I thought. So, I mean.
And how many thousands of kids got mutilated or put on hormones or put on neutered basically in the meantime?
Yeah, and you mentioned like emotional abuse. People need to understand these are sophisticated social and emotional, everything's social and emotional learning now. Well, there's a reason for that. These are sophisticated social and emotional sledgehammers and carrots. These are cult techniques that they've worked out over decades to really bash people down and use their social milieu to con them into doing something. And the sickest thing about it is most people went along with a lot of this stuff who didn't really believe in it. To your point, it was just a lot of moral cowardice. It was, it's not really affecting me. My son or daughter is not suicidal at home, or my son or daughter is not saying they're a different gender identity. So how bad can it be? And part of that was because, our social media landscape at the time was such that those conversations just couldn't be had. If you pointed this stuff out, you were banned, you were blocked, they throttled your accounts, they took down your videos. So you couldn't show other people that, hey, there's a lot of us who disagree with this. Okay. It's not just you. You can come out and you can talk about this. But yeah, the whole program, I mean, that's how we described it in the book. I mean, it's psychological totalism. They totally capture your psychology. I think the technical term in therapy is trauma bonding. They traumatize you, right. And then they bond with you. And I'm the only person who understands you. And this is happening in schools. It's also happening. A lot of it happens online in things like Discord servers. The gaming culture is a lot like that. So yeah, it was really sad to see the moral cowardice. And of course, now everyone's coming out like, oh, I've always been against it. And, what's the big deal? And of course, that's nuts.
Yeah. And I refuse to play along with that. I absolutely no. I remember when you guys were kicking people out of events, kicking people out of, debanking and deplatforming. I will never forget, 5 years ago. Well, no, I'm sorry, 2021. Oh my God, it was coming up on 5 years ago. 5 years ago, when my account was snatched, my Twitter account was snatched because I refused to call a man a woman. It's like, I remember, like, there are things that you cannot take away from people within. So I'm not going to ever let them forget it, especially as we go into, some of the warm weather sports. Because there's going to be pride nights coming up, and there's going to be because I don't know if you're much of a sports fan, but this
is a wet t-shirt contest with hairy chests.
I wasn't expecting that.
Swimming meets with banana hammocks.
Oh
yeah,
when the girls.
I mean, how much of it? Well, I guess the next question.
That's terrible.
Question I have is how much of a retraction are you seeing? I'm trying to think of the right way to ask this question. Are you
going somewhere else now?
Progress? Are you seeing any progress in terms of a walking back of this, like in terms of removing the policies, like states, cities removing the policies? I know we're seeing this on the federal level, but how is are you seeing this where you are trickling down?
A little bit. The problem is, frankly, people didn't understand it the first time around. If they didn't see the name Judith Butler on their child's textbook and see an image of a dildo in their child's textbook, they thought, well, it must not be here. And we went through this when critical race theory, before all of this, it was, do you have a black square in your account, and the moral cowardice around that. It was, hey, I don't see the words critical race theory in this book. Right. So it must not be there. A big problem facing most people people didn't understand it the first time around, and plenty of it is still there. And of course, we know you see videos pop off on X all of the time, secret recordings of people saying, well, yeah, we still do all of it, we just call it different things now. I've got a quote I love to pull up from one of the books I was researching when I was writing The Queering of the American Child. And this one just floored me too, because they in these academic journals and books, they don't think anyone's ever going to read them. Their dissertation committee is going to read it one time, and maybe 2 or 3 colleagues are going to read it. So they do a lot of bragging in them, because they just don't think there's anything wrong with what they're saying. Everyone who's going to read it agrees with them. And this text is about changing language. And this is from the 80s, about changing language to get stuff through. And it says, I'd like to begin by considering the use of the word critical. And by this, they mean critical theory, critical Marxist theory from the Frankfurt tradition. They're writing this in the 80s. To describe pedagogy, to describe teaching, as it has essentially become one of the many code words used to make the political agenda of a course invisible, or at least less visible. This has allowed educators to access public resources in order to further the goals of social justice and education. I mean, this is a common playbook tactic they have. Everything with them is words and who gets to define them. They're constantly redefining words and not telling you about it. They share your language, but they don't share your dictionary. So a lot of this stuff is still going on. Unfortunately, I hear from parents all the time that are in the middle of this. The good thing is there's a mountain of lawsuits that are taking place right now.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah, and some of the American medical establishment is walking back a bit. But what they've done is they've just taken all of that energy and now they've moved it into ICE, and ICE Floyd and ICE protests. Because if you know one thing about these people, you must understand that the issue is never the issue. It's always the revolution. It's never the specific thing they're arguing about. I made a song about it because I just need to repeat this over and over and over and over. I got a huge spam label on my Twitter account, on my X account, because I kept saying it. I was like, well, you have to say it 100 times before people pay any attention to it.
Exactly.
But the issue does.
Well, Isaiah says it every week, by the way.
Yeah, the revolution is what matters. So now all of that energy is going in there, and that's why you see things like Queers for Palestine. It's like it's all one big mob.
Chickens for KFC, basically. That's exactly what it is.
It's so tough, man. Like nobody's it's so tough because nobody believes that this is happening. You can't, like, when you tell people this, they look at you like you're a crazy person. And I get it. If you just bring your kids to school and they're just learning, and also that and anything that does come up that's woke is always in the sheep's clothing of social justice. Which who doesn't like social justice? You don't like justice for everybody. You don't like
empathy.
Yeah, you don't like empathy. You don't like caring about people's feelings. Instead, what they're really doing, of course, is making everybody hate straight white males and trying to queer your kids and trans your kids and making every inch of academia and meaning, any sense meaning in the world, in the West, constantly something you got to bang your head against and fight. So you can't even do anything. You're so frustrated. Or the world just changes in front of you, and you just fall. You're asleep at the wheel. It's brutal. It's honestly brutal.
Real quick, I have one of the people in the chat asked a pretty interesting question. He's like, "What are you drinking, Logan?"
It's a zero sugar root beer. If you haven't tried it, it's money. Like if you want to drink soda but you don't want all the sugar, zero sugar A&W it's the best thing out there.
Okay.
Right. Drinking the hard stuff.
I was gonna have some beers, but I wasn't sure if that was kosher on here, so I didn't.
Listen, we are.
Bro, I've snorted Coke on my keyboard on this show 4 times.
He has, and we had a glass of wine on the show last night.
Just kidding. Everybody never did that. Never did that. Police officers.
This asshole here. He says Isaiah drinks Steel Reserve. Why? Because I'm black.
No, I drink. Or I used to drink Steel Reserve. I said that last week.
You did, right?
My brother still does.
Listen,
back when I was a young man, when I was a teenager.
Listen, the only thing you do with Steel Reserve is you beer batter fish. Dead serious. I'm dead serious. Malt liquor. Bro, I'm dead ass. Like,
not Steel Reserve. Not Steel Reserve though. Steel Reserve's rough, dude.
Dude,
Steel Reserve's like 9% alcohol.
You have to you beer batter fish with like Colt 45 or any of them malt liquors.
No.
Serious.
Dude, you waterboard terrace with that shit.
I mean that too.
I think a 40 when I was in college, I think a 40 of Steel Reserve or Colt 45, it was like less than $1. I swear, it was so cheap. So that's what everyone drank because it was just so cheap.
My broke ass was buying it in college.
Oh right. Oh man,
because I liked it.
Wait a minute. Our friend Jess, Jess Ann, who is I don't know, you know Jess Ann, don't you, Nino?
I don't think so.
This is Jess Ann is Joshua Slocum of the Disaffected Podcast. This is his sister.
Oh yeah. That's right. I remember. Yes, she was introduced before. Yes.
We love you.
Ann.
We love you. You're incredible.
Right. We remember you.
Your brother still looks like Jason Stanley, but we love him anyway.
Tell your brother I'm going to send him some DPs later.
Oh shit.
I don't know.
I know what he loves.
Oh man, you know what?
you know Josh Slocum, Logan?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
It's Disaffected Pod.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Disaffected.
Yeah. He's a friend of the pod. A
Yes.
very gay friend of the pod. So that's why.
Very.
And he likes to he likes to flirt with me. So
yes.
I give what he wants. I give what he wants.
Matt Osborne, our friend, he says, "Hey Logan, it's your Gen Spec buddy. Tell the guys about your terrific speech." Oh,
yeah, let's hear about it.
Hey, Matt.
We'll talk about that in a second, but I want to go back to something you had talked about earlier, about how schools these days are about bringing kids into trauma.
Yeah.
Corey DeAngelis found this earlier today, and I'm gonna play it. It's a 45-second clip. And first off, this does look about white, and there is the token black woman in the background if you can see her. Okay, breaking Florida, and this is happening in Florida. This is like the worst fucking place to do this. The Florida Teachers Union says children protesting immigration enforcement is required.
Oh, that's critical pedagogy.
Yeah, let's listen to this. Hold on, here we go.
How does this happen in Florida? I don't get this,
are
man.
confronted with videos of ICE raids, of families being torn apart, and of Americans being murdered for using their constitutional rights. They respond. They organize. They speak out. And they do what American students have always done in moments of injustice. They stand together and demand safety for their peers, their families, and themselves. And that response, while framed by some politicians as radical, is rather reasonable. It's rational. And in a moment like this, it is required. To any students being told that they do not have the right to speak out or walk out on their campus, I want to be clear. This is the United States of America. You do not shed your First Amendment rights when you step foot through the schoolhouse. Florida students are.
Man, they really love the Constitution when it comes to protesting everything on earth.
They love it. They own your kids, folks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Logan.
I don't understand. This is when I started to get into all of this. What I could not understand is people seeing videos like that every single day and thinking, that's so wild, that's so weird, that makes no sense. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. I see it again the next day. I'm going to rage tweet about this. And then, okay, I still don't understand it. Like, I had to understand and make sense of that. And that is perfectly sensible once you understand how education generally works in education. And that's through critical pedagogy. And we write a lot about that in the book. It's not a lot of time to get super in depth with it, but a core component of critical pedagogy, going all the way back to Marx saying that philosophers have hitherto only tried to understand the world. The point, however, is to change it, is to use education as a mediator for political literacy, but then do something with it. So we're not only going to brainwash your children and program them with our cult religious ideology, but then they have to act on it. But that's why we call this a religion. It's a series of beliefs and practices that answer fundamental questions about the reality, our reality, and the nature of man, such that it gives rise to duties of conscience. That's James's definition that he's derived from jurisprudence from the Supreme Court, and it fits. And that's exactly what this is.
Repeat that one more time, please. Repeat that. Those three markers are very, very important. So please go through those one more time.
Yeah, it's a system of beliefs and practices that answers fundamental questions about the nature of reality and man's role in it, such that it gives rise to duties of conscience. So it's you've got to be politically literate in the way we want you to be politically literate, and then we're going to traumatize you and radicalize you, so you literally cannot exist in the world in your own body until you go out and try and change it in the pre-prescribed ways that we've set out for you. Herbert Marcuse, from the Frankfurt School lineage, and he's a huge name in the 60s for those who aren't aware. In large part, he's the architect of the New Left. He said that you've got to get people to a point where they physically cannot function in society, where they cannot handle the system any longer. They can't tolerate it. They can't live in it. So the only thing left to do is to overthrow it and become a radical revolutionary. And that's what critical pedagogy is designed to do in the classroom. This doesn't surprise me, because in the 80s, people were, I've got examples in the book from the 80s of high school teachers taking, their classes to communist protests. So it's like, it's mostly the same thing. But they put flowery language on it, and they use your values against you all the time. So it's, hey, this is this is your constitutional right. Of course you can go out and do this, and you shouldn't be in the classroom. It's just absurd.
Yeah, that's
go ahead, Nino.
That's crazy. I mean, like,
I have an example of what
they're talking about. Like, you have to change the world. Like, why? I mean, the world's going to change regardless. Everybody's going to do things that's going to help change the world, hopefully one way or the other, hopefully in a good way. But it seems like the goal is to tear things down. It's like,
yes, and
replace it with what? With what's constantly failed with horrific death toll and repression. And it's crazy to me. Like, they have to, like you said, they have to like tear down what is already works for most people. It really does in America. Like, even like if you're pretty poor, you don't starve. You usually can get health care. You don't even have to work, and you can get on. I mean, you could be an illegal immigrant and not work and be on welfare here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not maybe the best life potentially, but God, it's like better than most people's lives in the whole world. And it's like, so we got to destroy that system, really? It's just, I mean, I don't like. There's no perspective. There's no historical perspective, and because they're radicalizing these kids to think that they're living like the most unjust, terrible country in the world of all time, when it's actually 100% the opposite.
Right, yeah. They're in the top 0.0000001% of human beings to have ever existed on planet Earth, and it's like my frappuccino's a little bit too hot. Time to overthrow society.
Yeah, and it's like exactly, and it's like you should blame your college professors and woke administrators for putting, because this is probably one of the big things that they can complain about, is that they're in $100,000 to $200,000 worth of debt for learning crazy radical horseshit. Right, where they literally come out knowing less about the world, having less of a sense of reality, coming out more ignorant, and then now they're in $100,000 to $200,000 worth of debt. That's not capitalism, though. That's their teachers' fault in a way. Their parents' fault maybe in a way for pushing, but it's really the universities being greedy. It's the universities being very greedy and corrupt.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, my whole thing is these kids can't read. These kids can't read, they can't write, they can't do math.
They don't know their history at all.
They have absolutely no idea about their history. They have no idea how to spend money. They are literally, they like you said earlier, they are not equipped to live in real life. And what does that look like?
There is somebody they could blame. There's people they could blame for that, and it's the Democrats and the left who have been corrupting education. I mean, that's. And
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you exactly what
they're right to be pissed about that.
I'm gonna show y'all what that looks like. This happened on Friday. Okay, Nick Sordor posted this Friday afternoon. Youths in Baltimore, my hometown, have taken over major streets in the city under the guise of anti-ICE activism. I saw some of this earlier in that same day in New York City before I went to work. But I know exactly where this is, right? This is Eastern Avenue. These kids got let out of Patterson High School. Patterson High School for many years was considered one of the best high schools in Baltimore. Okay? This is on the I-95 overpass. I know exactly where this is. That's heading in towards the city. To the left of that is a Wawa. We go to that Wawa all the time, but at least my parents do. This is what this is what your children are doing. They can't read, they can't write, they can't do math, but they are set out like dogs to do this.
What is that? Please be careful, guys! Please be careful, guys, please!
Fuck Donald Trump!
Can't read, can't write, can't do math, but they can show up to a protest whenever one of these adult assholes in like one of their administrators or teachers sets them out to. As a native of Baltimore, I grew up not too far. I grew up like from the age of 10 on up. I grew up not too far from there, and it just breaks my heart to see something like that go on in a place that I know pretty well.
Do you know that did they just release the schools? Is that like a whole classroom kind of thing, or is that like kids came out of school afterwards and a few of them decided to go protest, or was that like a organized, like teachers are getting their classrooms to go out? Because I've seen videos of that at least look like that as well.
I personally believe that there's nothing organic about this, because I actually because I have a video from.
It's so messed up, man. It's so easy to get kids to do stuff like that too. All you gotta do is get them all heated and tell them to go. Like half those kids don't give a shit or have any idea what's going on.
They have no idea.
They've been told that Trump is mean to Latino immigrants or something, and that's all they need. That's all they had to be told. Like you're gonna get out of school. Woo! We're gonna be going crazy together as a classroom. We're gonna try to impress each ot's friends, impress the girl you like. That's the way kids are thinking at that age. But they make it look like there's like a real political movement. It drives me crazy, man. This is really it's terrible.
I caught this like that same day. This is in Union Square. This is in Midtown Manhattan. Okay,
oh, yeah, I saw this.
Yeah. I got this. I got this myself.
Yeah, fat hobbit.
Yeah, look at this. Well, look what we have here. I think I'm gonna get me some content. Look at this.
Jesus Christ, they know how to pick them, huh?
Looks about white. Few Hispanics. privilege.
Oh, wait,
shit.
That lady was back.
The dirty look that lady gave me, and it was like, yo, she was like,
yeah, there it is.
oh, man, that was bad, dude. There's nothing about this that's organic whatsoever. And all of this, and all of this is, I mean, a lot of people, I feel like over the last several years have focused on the sexual aspects of, of what queering is. Like they focus on, the sexualization of children by teachers and administrators, and then in college, professors and all that kind of stuff. But the queering comes also in just the basic education. Again, kids can't fucking read. They can't read. They can't write. They can't do math. They can barely boil fucking water. These kids, they're on these all day long. They're on screens. The screens are raising the kids, and they're getting absolutely no education from the schools. The parents, what fucking parents? These parents basically treat schools, and I'm saying this, and I have my own biases because my wife is a teacher. These parents are treating these schools like fucking daycare.
They offshore their parenting to schools.
They're offshoring their Yeah, exactly. They're offshoring their parenting to schools. We got a little bit more time with you. I want to talk about some of these. I want to talk about some of these tracks that you came up with.
Real quick, if I can, because we had a really important point that was brought up that a lot of people are confused by, and it's the fact that none of this is organic. Like, you look into any one of these protests, none of it is just concerned people, who think a certain way about the political climate or a certain issue and just decide to get together in protest. It is all highly organized with millions of dollars behind it, and the purpose of it is to make it look spontaneous. So for the casual observer who's watching it on CNN or CNS or CNBC, wherever they're watching it, they think, oh, look, yeah, people are taking to the streets. They really care about this. Maybe I'm talking about moral clarity and cowardice earlier. Maybe I'm a bad person. Why don't I care as much about it like these people are? But it's all designed. They have playbooks. I've been tweeting a lot about these recently. Rules for Radicals, Beautiful Trouble. It's a stage play, and this ties into a lot of the songs because I wrote a few about this, because you have to understand it's a theatrical production for them. Everything is done intentionally. Nothing is left to chance. Even when people are shot or run over by agents, that's what they want. That's designed. That helps their cause in their stage play and what they're selling.
Can I play one of those songs? I have one here. This is Toy Soldiers. I think this explains. This is. I mean, I also know of the other song where you're. I can't remember. The issue is never the issue, but this one in particular, I think, has a lot to do with what we're talking about. So I'll play a minute. I'll play like the first couple, like the first minute or so of it.
They raided a church service, take the flamethrower, aim it and burn vermin. I have to abdicate my worst urges and purge my anger like a nerve surgeon in the third person. Leftists are upset, go figure. Possessed by demons and old fixtures, workers of the world unite. They feel it in their bones, blisters and stone slippers. So trigger with the fingers in the nose digging until the dome splinters, they're so bitter. Bang! Okay, snap out of it. Understand what happened, but don't back down again. They planned that attack, chose the target to get a reaction you won't get far with. They had professional cameras and Don mic'd up, shooting the action as the bombs fly down and the songs fly shut. The dust settles and they're screaming banzai rush while the audience bathes in online blood. But the flock didn't buy it, didn't side with the violent. The ones online crying about how they would have stomped on Don and his fine friends. The left wants you emotional like them, easily manipulated like them, easily instigated right when the mic drops, the fight ends. Bent out of shape because a few left it. Stole your vision and made the light bend into bright red. I know we wanna fight back, wanna fall for the lie and tie brass around our knuckles with a left hook and a right jab. Let the sand fly with the nice gash and an eye black. But that is stepping onto their stage, onto their play, where you wear a comical face, becoming a very scary, ominous gaze that the audience at home sees flocking to flame. You're supposed to be angry, race.
This is all I gotta say is you might bet.
Drama King exclusive.
Exactly.
Early 2000s, every track was like that.
I gotta know. First off, how did you do
That's
that?
pretty good, man. That's
Yeah,
what got you? Were you a rapper before?
Yeah.
Or were you what got you?
Well, I've been writing songs for about 18 years now. I've always written songs. Yeah, and there's a couple old albums floating around out there that I don't advertise anymore because I've gotten a lot better since then. But I've been a songwriter for a long time. And recently, these AI music generators have gotten exceptionally good. You know, people think you go to a music generator and you type in, give me a song about Charlie Kirk, enter, and it spits out a masterpiece. But I've got 2 young kids. I don't have time to go to a studio. It's very expensive. I'm not buying the equipment at home. But these generators have gotten to a point where you can perform the song, upload the file, and then, you could pick someone else's voice. You can engineer the songs with precise instrumentation, the melody you want, the chords you want, and of course your own lyrics. So the whole album up front, for those who don't know, is AI generated. It's all my writing, but it's not typing in. I mean, this took a couple months to put together. It's not just typing it in and saying go. It's the studios now allow you to go into a studio, so you can select portions of the track, change instrumentation, mess with EQ, whatever it is. But then you can also record your own performance. They're not all my own performance, but a lot of the rapping ones are, because the studios, they can't quite nail that yet. They really struggle with hip hop specifically, because the more technical you get. My writing's really technical. I did a breakdown on X the other day where I just kind of did all of the rhymes that are in between bars, and it's pretty crazy. But I've been doing it a long time, so it allowed me. The technology finally got to a point where it's like, I love making music. I've written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs over the years. I'm at a place where, hey, I think with my experience in the direction I've gone in the last 5 years, I've got some stuff to say about these movements that I think can reach people in a different way, because it's really hard to get people to pick up one of these and have them. If you can get them emotionally and keep the message relatively simple, but also entertain them, that's really what it was. It was an experiment to say, okay, I like writing, I enjoy it, I'm doing it anyway. But now there's virtual studios I can work in to craft precisely the songs I want and get them out there and see if that can entertain people while teaching them something. So that's the story behind the album.
So is that how your voice sounds like, or did you
no
AI
that is much better, crispy,
make it sing better or something, or like?
Oh yeah,
okay,
100 times better than my voice.
Do you have to record it with a good microphone? Or could you just do it on your phone and then an AI will make it sound studio quality?
I'm sure you could. I'm sure it's good enough to do it on your phone. I've got a Blue Yeti that I use. I do have some old recording equipment. It's 10 years old now. But yeah, a fun fact I learned while I was doing that, because again, most people, as soon as you say AI, they think, you took 10 seconds and generated a complex song, which is just, it's not that. But 50% of the music on Spotify today, 50% of it is AI. More music is more. Yeah. So everyone's already listening to it. They're already listening to it. There is more music uploaded to Spotify daily, made by AI, than all of the music released by all human beings in 1984. Daily. So and that was somewhere, maybe you can bring me back. I'd love to come back for an AI talk, because that's kind of been one of my chief focuses recently.
Yeah, we should do that, man. I also been a musician since I was a teenager, Logan. I did
Oh, really?
I was a singer in a punk
nice.
band, singer in hard rock. I did some rap stuff. Yeah, man, I did it all. I think I might be doing something else. Let me know if you ever want to do a collabo, man.
Okay.
Come together like Meth and Red.
Yeah, there you go. With AI, for maybe next time, the thing I wanted to say is that, a lot of people, because I've been focusing on it a lot, like to make comments, and I understand where they're coming from. They just haven't used it yet. But like, I'm never going to go for this. I'm not going to opt into this, and that's fine. But you're already using applications, right? Today that you don't know, most of the code is written by AI. You're listening to music. You're consuming pictures and video. The AI takeoff with these new models, Opus 4.6 and OpenAI's Codex, they're this. The curve went like this in the last 2 weeks, and you're about to see an insane explosion. The analogy I used online the other day was people want to debate about whether or not the plane should exist, but the landing gear's up, and you're in the plane already. And you better learn how to fly it and get ahead of the plane, because if you stay behind the plane and sit arguing every day about, I'm not going to consume this content, I'm never going to use this, you're going to end up on air disasters. And that sounds terrible, but these models can be placed, these open source models can be placed on a MacBook Mini now. If all the AI labs, if it was a bubble, if they all went defunct tomorrow, it would not change a thing. They're already there. The genie's out of the lamp. You can't go backwards. So that's another thing I'm passionate about, that I'm look for more from me in the future about that, because I want people to, I don't have a course to sell for AI. I'm not making any money from talking about this. There's no sponsors. I just want people who listen or take a look at my X to understand you really should start using this stuff like today. I know there's some friction still, so you're going to be a couple years ahead of the curve, because if you introduce just the slightest amount of friction, most people are out and they're like, I can't learn that, it's too complicated. Yeah. But you can and you should, because the world's about to change, and it's going to change super fast. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to wake up in a new world thinking, what the hell happened, like we did with all of this other garbage.
Exactly. And
so
that's,
look, we definitely got to have you on to talk about that. I want to ask you actually to bring it together. How do you think this AI, since you said, we're in the plane, it's happening already. How's the AI gonna how's it gonna interface with wokeness? You think it's gonna accentuate it? You think it's gonna in some ways fight it? Is it gonna make things worse or better when it comes to that stuff?
It's gonna make it way worse, because this is what's gonna happen. It's already happening. Is every single child is gonna have a phone that is their person. They're going to have an AI on it from one of these major companies. That's all of their education is going to be done through that. They're going to be talking to it like they watch TikTok videos. It's going to be their personal tutor. They're not going to do any of their own thinking anymore. And all of these models draw from their training sets, from the information that already exists. And all of the information that exists already is supportive of wokeness and queer theory and critical race theory and all of the
going from college papers and stuff
and PhDs. That's what these models were trained on. Now, they have got better. If you remember with OpenAI, you used to say, show me George Washington, and you get George Washington.
Yeah.
Don't do it anymore. But if you ask them pointed philosophical questions or try and debate them about the last 50 years of philosophy or academics, they won't take it. It's like, no, you are wrong, and this is why you're wrong. So it's going to be personalized tutors for every kid. That's where all of the major publishing houses are going, and that's another reason you need to learn how to use these tools, because you can't stop it if you don't understand how they work. You can't protect your children if you don't understand how they work. You can't protect yourself. I see people all the time. Have you seen Boomer Book lately? Like, every video is so clearly fake, and they're all falling for it. And they're like, oh,
I know, man, terrible. It's tough. My parents, drive me crazy.
Well, you know what, Logan? You've been a big help. We got to have you back on for like a couple hours.
Definitely want to talk AI. Definitely, and we should also do another episode with him with James Lindsay. If you can get them both on, that'd be great.
Yo, that'd be great. Fun. Yeah. That'd be great to have the both of you.
I don't have as much time. I got to get the kids down. It's been
it's all good. I know that life, brother. I know.
Bro, it's all good. What do you? Anything else you want to promote? Anything else you want to just talk about before you leave?
Yeah, it's we've got The Queering of the American Child. I think it's a excellent book. explain the state of things and how we got here. I don't make much money from it. I found this out the hard way. When you publish books, you make pennies on the dollar. So I'm not saying this to make money. Honestly, it's a fantastic resource and a great book. If you're interested, I would pick that up. Available at fine bookstores everywhere as long as it's Amazon. Factory Reset is available at loganlancing.com for free. You don't need to buy it. You can stream every song just by clicking on them. It's also on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, all those places. And then you can find me on X at Logan Lancing. But thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, guys. It was nice to meet you in person.
Great to meet
pleasure,
you,
Logan.
brother. Thank you for coming on. Our love to you and you and your kids, and your whole family, brother. We love you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Take care, brother.
Later,
All right,
fellas.
thanks.